Yep. Ba-da-ba-ba-da-bum.
Bum.
Hello guys, welcome to the sound check from 17 Creations. This is Friday daytime in my place already. How are we doing, Thomas?
Hello over there, Alex. How you doing? I'm great.
Oh, it's freaking hot here. I got like around 20 degrees outside. It's quite a lot for the May already.
Oh, that is hot for you.
So the summer is coming, but people are still sitting in their houses. It's terrible. But also we're trying to survive.
Exactly. It's not easy, but we're managing, right? We just need to hang out a little,
Yep.
a little longer. It's gonna be okay.
Today we have a lot of stuff to talk about. Which topic would be the main, according to today's podcast?
Oh yes, today is gonna be a topic I really like, something I really enjoy. Music in games.
Music.
Something we both
Oh,
like,
in
right?
game.
Yes, exactly. I'm really excited to talk about this one. I hope you're too.
Yeah, music in games is really developing every year.
So let's jump into it, okay? Hello. So Alex, a lot of people think that making music for games is something easy, right? But it's not quite like that, right? During the years we have been developing this area. Back in the days, we used to have like really old songs that the sound would be in 8 beats, right? Especially in like Mario or like some really arcade games back in Mega Drive era or even Atari era. So something really old. But it's not that simple to make music for games because you need to imagine all the possible scenarios when you're making a song for a video game. If you make a normal song, you have like the introduction and the bridge and the chorus and the ending, and it should be okay. The song is gonna be like that forever. But when you're dealing with video games, the songs need to react to each scenario possible, right? So
Yeah.
it's not cool when you're playing something and the song just drops and you go like, whoa, what is happening here? You kind of feel something was lost between that, right? And the gaming
It's not
experience
just putting
changed.
the simple sounds inside.
Yes, exactly. So back in the days, I grew up playing video games, right? And I had two older brothers, so I was the youngest one. So I used to always watch them play and always help them while they were playing. And many of the songs here that we're gonna talk about here, or the bands that we're gonna talk here, they kind of stuck into me, and even to this day I listen to them because of that, because it brings me good memories, right? And when you're playing a game, it's like an experience. So a good song, a good soundtrack would enhance that experience, right? So I remember, have you ever played Tony Hawk Pro Skater?
No, I didn't get this kind of experience.
Oh, no.
All my friends used to play, but not me.
Yes, I didn't get to play too because I was too young. I mean, I played just a little, but I was really bad at it. But I really liked like the soundtrack on the game, because when you think about skating, you think about like adventure, right? Action, something that gonna pump you up and you're gonna enjoy it, right? So back in the yes, and back in the day, they used to have like Papa Roach songs, Sun for One, and even like Rage Against the Machine, right? And many of those songs, even this day when I listen to it, it reminds me of the game, because it's such a unique experience, right? And it reminds you of the exact scenario or the exact level that you were playing, and the skate and the shape of the things, you know. It gives you like this nostalgia feeling. And it's such a good thing. I remember
It's creating the atmosphere of the whole game, isn't it?
Yes, I remember there was a game called Crazy Taxi. Have you heard of this? I'm like a fanboy from Sega.
Yeah, I can remember sounds like.
Yeah, it was really fun, and you had like some offspring songs. You had to get people on the streets and take them to the places, but the songs were like so pumped up, right? So like punk rock. So it was like a Crazy Taxi, right? Is the name of the game, and it was indeed a crazy taxi, and it was like a crazy experience to play with. But you also think about it, you like Nintendo. Everybody likes Nintendo. There is no person in the world that doesn't like Nintendo, right? Nintendo is amazing. And
Exactly.
when you think of Nintendo, the first thing you think is Mario, Zelda, right?
Yeah.
And for example, the music of Zelda, when it starts the theme song, if you ever play the game, it's impossible for you to not remember that, right? And also,
The Zelda is totally created by the music surrounding,
yes,
like literally.
yes. When Nintendo
An
makes
experience
games,
of the last game, for example,
Yeah.
an experience of the last party, for example. This is several soundtracks which is being audio, literally.
when Nintendo makes a game, they don't make a game, they make art. So it's not something to
Yeah.
sell. They are selling a real piece of art there. So usually, as a
Even the game is so simple, they are really making some kind of a uniqueness.
Exactly. And that for me is like Zelda, because all the theme songs during the game, they make you remember the forest or the village, and it gives like this idea of an adventure, right? You're playing with Link, and it's such an adventure to be part of. And this is
like when you're coming through the forest, you're feeling the real forest roar. Like
exactly.
You're feeling the adventure music. You're getting some kind of a motivation for fighting with some kind of creatures there, or for just finding something.
Yes.
You're feeling like you're feeling yourself like a hero of the film.
Exactly like that. And that is necessary when you're playing a single-player game where you need to feel connected to the story and to the characters, right?
Yeah, exactly. And plus enough all of those topics according to the Nintendo games and all the surroundings, the musical surroundings in the games. It's a very interesting piece because all of the games are trying to input the music, which might be not just attractive, but put the player ahead in their own game, and it's a very interesting experience. Okay, Thomas, let's try to get a little break and we'll talk after the several musical compositions.
Best days pass us by, and most long for a place that they never find. I'm afraid I wake up when I die, and it is too late to climb any mountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. I will be the greatest that you've ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal. Run out when things don't go to plan. I kinda lose my mind. I hope it's real. This life comes around. Just keep your faith and search for the fountain. Time is of the essence, the blood running through our core. It's best to not feel sorry when it's over. Will be the greatest that you've ever seen before, and I'll stay eternal. Eternal.
Okay, let's start our second part, Thomas. This is the second round of the video games and the music. So, what will be the second topic we're gonna talk about today?
So, Alex, have you played Rayman?
Yeah, Rayman is one of the games I used to play in my childhood, but I wasn't like really interested in it. But it's like a really big input in my childhood as well.
Yes, I actually have like played with my nephews the Rayman Legends on Xbox, and it's such a fun game to play. And one of the things that really attracts me to the game is that the way they made the music sync with the gameplay, right? So in some I think there's a specific stage of the game where the song that is playing kind of matches the actions that you're taking during the game. So it's super fun to play, and especially for kids, you know, because that makes them really get into the game. Yeah. And this is not just in Rayman, but there are some games that try to take the music to match the actions. And the best example I can give here is Guitar Hero. Have you ever played that?
Oh yeah, I tried. This is dope.
Oh, Guitar Hero was like my favorite at the time I was a teenager and my brother was in university. So he got the guitar from the video game, and he got like the drums as well. And we used to play.
God.
Yes, we used to play together. It used to be so much fun. I used to play the whole day. He would get home from the university, and with one try, he would beat my score, and I would get mad for the whole week. And I kept practicing.
I remember,
and
like,
it was not enough.
The first time I tried the Guitar Hero was when I was on my friend's birthday, and it was like really interesting because after that I decided to be the guitar player. But since I decided, I never tried to play on the guitar anymore.
Yes. The good thing about Guitar Hero is that you can feel like a musician when you're not one, right? So I used to.
Yeah, that's right.
I used to play that a lot with my brother. It was part of my teenage days, and actually, my teenage days, probably. And it used to be. It is interesting because rock and roll is kind of dying nowadays, but Guitar Hero brought rock and roll back to the new generation at the time, my generation or the generation before me as well. And even like younger people, they start to play the game and realize that rock and roll is fun. And where do we go back to?
Yeah, actually the music is being the part of the gaming world as well, because if the games won't have any kind of a sounds or just a musical endings or intros, it would be like totally disaster for the game production as well, because people won't start playing it. It's like eating with a food without any kind of a taste. So that's very interesting because have you ever heard about the Sid Meier's games?
Oh yes, I do. I'm a fan of Civilization.
Oh, I prefer likely to play some kind of a surviving or shooters games, and I also may say that Sid Meier's is taking the really part out of his time of producing the musical compositions in each of these games, because when you're playing his games, it's literally give you some kind of a enjoying reaction when you get the effect of being the real hero of the game. Because also when you're playing the Civilization, for example, it gives you some kind of operas or some kind of a composition which was on the several like centuries or ages ago.
Yes.
And also when you're playing the surviving or some kind of a shooters, you're also grieving the feeling, and they're trying to attract you and show you the several situations by not just by the atmosphere but by the feeling. It sounds like the music is trying to talk with you when you're looking for someone who's asking for the help, or for looking for someone who needs your your leadership or another stuff.
Yes,
so if you're trying to fight between some kind of people, so you have to understand that the music is leading you, not just you trying to lead the game.
Yes. When it comes to Civilization, I really like the theme song from Civilization 6. I think it's one of the most beautiful songs ever made, because it really fits the game. The game is basically rising a civilization from the beginning, right? So back from the old ages until the modern future, you have so many things you can do in the game, and so many ways you can change your story, right? And the ways you can rule the game. I think you can win by making like a spaceship, or with religion, or by war. And the theme song, when you listen to it, you feel like a colonizer, you know. You feel like you're building a new world, a better world. And this is the power of music. When music has a power for anything, but for everything, but when it comes to games, it gives you this sensation, you know. When you play it, you kind of feel in the character. You really get into discovering new areas in the world, you know.
Yeah, it's totally motivates you to play more and more. Because I remember the one game, there was Ori and the Blind Forest, for example.
Ooh, I love that.
That's really beautiful game about the ghost who's been in the forest, and it's really attractive just because of the music. Exactly. I mean, I'm not talking that it's totally not interesting at all. I'm talking about especially the music part, because when you're playing and you're feeling this life of the forest, you can hear some kind of spiders going around. You can hear some kind of animals and other stuff, and it becomes like a really non-deleting part of the whole game.
Yes. This is actually really good. I like this game. I still have to finish it, but the soundtrack is beautiful. You feel like into a forest, and the story of the game is really simple. You don't even have like chat. It's just like noises from the animals, right? But the music fulfills all the space that is empty there because of the lack of dialogues. So this game is amazing. And we've been talking about this for a long time. I wanted to point out a game that usually you make a soundtrack for a game, right? In this game, they made the soundtrack and then they made the game. So that's why it's beautiful. It's a Brazilian game called Songs for a Hero. It's actually on Steam. And
what is this?
It was made for a guy that is actually a stand-up comedian and also kind of a musician with his brother. So they made, just for a video, they created a song about like a warrior trying to rescue a princess. And it was like, they made the animation video just like in the game. So the warrior was trying to save the princess, and the thing about the song is that the song is telling what he's doing, you know. So, I'm gonna find the princess, and then I see this snake. Should I touch the snake or something like this? And it is like the main character singing about his adventure. And the idea was so good that they decided to make a whole game like that. So when you play the game, it's extremely fun because there's the theme song playing all the time, and the lyrics keep changing because the lyrics is actually what is happening in the game. It's a 2D game, like a platform game, so it's easier to make it sync, but it's one of the most like creative things I've ever seen. And this game is super fun to play, and it's really fun, the songs. Later I'm gonna send you.
Okay, more music and more games just after 2 minutes break. See you.
The world has been broke down. The world is just announced. Final time is now. The final time to bow. But I will not get down. For you can't force me now. Awakening is clear. I could show you how. I could show you how to fight them. I could show you how to defeat them now. Awakening is clear. I could show you how.
Okay, guys, this is the third round of our topic today. So we're talking about music and the gaming sphere, which is being really, really important part of it. So Thomas, what would be the third round?
Oh, this is just to finish it up. Let's wrap it up here. I could talk about this for 2 more days, but let's finish with something actually really interesting. Some years ago, there was an initiative called Video Games Live, which is game songs played live by an orchestra, and it's extremely interesting how they do it because they arrange the whole music with like all the violins and all the pianos and the instruments you need to make like an orchestra. And the public that goes there is kind of different because you usually expect people that like classical music to go to an orchestra, but the people that go to such events are gamers, people that like games and want to listen to the games they have played all over their lives in a new version, an orchestra version. This is actually big, and
I also heard about it and getting some kind of an experience. I remember like there was a composer for the several video games in Japan. He made the music for the Final Fantasy as well. Yes. And he came to my city with his own orchestra for playing the music from the anime and the games. And I got this kind of a big experience for coming on his concert. Oh my god, it was like so amazing because I got like 2.3 hours of non-stopping playing of the music, which I know exactly, but in the classical way because it used to play on the classical orchestra.
Yes, that is. I would have paid 2 million to go to such concert. That would be probably one of the best experiences ever in my life. It indeed is very beautiful. Actually, Final Fantasy VII, they just released a remake version of Final Fantasy VII, and I couldn't play the game, but I tried to watch the playthrough through internet, and it's impressive how the soundtrack is amazing. For each of the maps in the game, the soundtrack changes, and you get to completely into the game, so it kind of feels like you're watching a 50-hour movie, because of how the story unfolds and how the music helps you get entertained in the game. Actually, this is fun.
This is probably
Okay. Oh, let me just wrap it up like this.
Okay.
This is interesting. There's a lot of games nowadays that are, instead of making a game you play, making a story for you to live. So it goes from Witcher 3, which is a really big game, but the story captivates you. Same goes for Final Fantasy and such games, especially the RPG type
Skyrim.
games. Yes, Skyrim. Yes, that's like an experience. It's not a game anymore. So even like the main team of Skyrim is really famous, right? Dovahkiin stuff. So
this is probably one of the unusual experiences when the teams who's used to work on those kind of games, as Witcher and Skyrim and the Final Fantasy, as you already told, made the real fantasy as well for all the players all over the world to not to just heard some kind of audio surrounding inside the game, but to listen it like every day on the phones, on the headphones, on the car, like everywhere, and it's really exciting.
Yes, it is, and I'm looking forward to the future because it tends to get way better, way bigger, and I'm kind of excited to see where we're gonna get to.
Yeah, I think the big example of this is also the League of Legends, as you may remember.
Yes.
They're also giving some kind of really, really big events connected to their own production, and they're making the real beautiful tracks, which is becoming the opening for the whole ceremony of the World Cup on the League of Legends, which is really attracting dozens of the people, who's listening to it. Like, I used to listen to one of the compositions like this morning.
Oh, I think I know which one it is. Probably my favorite as well. Some of the songs even go to the Billboard, right? So it's making games more popular And I kind of think this is the future. I really hope it is the future as a gamer.
Okay, this is the end of our topic today. Thank you for the listening, guys. The next one will be the mix of the several tracks in 17 creations. We'd like to see you today and see you next Friday.
See you guys. Bye-bye.
Cause I like to be myself. If you're not agree, you can walk away. You can walk away. You can walk away. Something in my mind makes me think I ain't nobody perfect. Something in my mind makes me think I ain't nobody perfect.
perfect. Cause I don't want nobody change me now. Cause I like to be myself. If you're not agree, you can walk away. You can walk away. You can walk away. Something in my mind makes me think that ain't nobody perfect. Something in my mind makes me think that